Companies may be punished for paying ransoms to sanctioned hackers.
Ridiculous.
Pay a ransom to get your company back and run it. You get fined. Is this a good idea, a bad idea?
Then the government should start offering protections to businesses and saying, if you don't take us up on those protections, then you're in trouble. Essentially, these guidelines are attacking the wrong group. They're hoping to cut ransomware off at the source by saying, by pumping money into the economy, we're going to hold you responsible. And we all know that that's bullshit. If the government, if these are state-sponsored groups, they're not even necessarily state-sponsored, but if we go with our privateering thing that we've been talking about, which is kind of a wink, wink, nod, nudge, nudge, as long as you're going to attack somebody who's not Russian or attack somebody who's not Chinese, the US government should be sponsoring or helping businesses. They can. One of the great things about this land is how many widespread mid-sized businesses we have and how many large major enterprises we have. There's no way for the government to help. They shouldn't be interfering.
So I think we can agree on a few things that disagrees with this report. The first is that we all don't like ransomware, but they're not terrorists. Can we all agree that hackers are not terrorists?
Yes, you can call them many things. I mean, some maybe some
cyber criminals. Yeah. They are.
I would say an attack on critical infrastructure might border on terrorism.
Well,
beyond that, I'm not.
The official definition of terrorism says that they have to have, or they don't have, but they usually have some sort of political motive.
This is all money.
Yeah, but this is ransomware is all about money. That you don't like the mob, but the mob is not terrorists. You don't like the Yakuza. The Yakuza is not terrorists. You don't like ransomware, but ransomware is not terrorists because the groups behind it are financially motivated. They are cyber crime, and you can liken them to maybe an annoying, like, Mexican cartel that traffics drugs. They are a detriment on society, but they're doing it for financial reasons, and they have no political aspirations.
Yeah, talking about this is actually this is interesting because the article, I read a different article, said that the guidelines were from the government and from the US Treasury was that you were going to get fined if you were paying a state-sponsored attacker. Now, the state-sponsored attacker, like we've been saying, these are privateers that are doing this. Are they state-sponsored? You can say, maybe. I mean, they probably are, but you can't legally tie them back. That's the whole point of being a privateer. Like the RSA hack that we just discussed, the state-sponsored attackers are going for something much bigger than just ransomware.
Well, and I'll make the devil's argument that even if they were all sponsored by the government of Russia, that is not a terrorist. That is a disagreement between sovereign states.
Right. Yep. Yeah, I agree with that.
So I think we can all agree that no one is sponsoring terrorism by paying a ransom. No one wants to pay a ransom. We've covered this before. We covered this with Colonial Pipeline. Ransom is the worst option to a bad situation, but sometimes it's your best option. There has been, until AXA changed their policy, the ability to get ransomware insurance, just like you and I could get ransom insurance. If you visit Mexico and someone kidnaps you and they hold you for ransom, if you have ransom insurance, the insurance will negotiate and they will pay out to secure your release. I don't see any difference between that and ransomware other than it's digital and politicians are afraid of it.
Yeah, I would like with Colonial Pipeline, they paid that ransom like almost immediately. Yeah. And I would love to see the US Treasury go to them and say, no, don't pay that. Keep the oil to the whole Eastern Seaboard shut down. You are not allowed to pay.
And the problem is, not only will the federal government take it out on you, but they won't do a goddamn thing about it. If you can't pay the ransom and you can't hack back, like what do? You just die, right? So the current policy,
Splinter cheeks tighter is what happens.
yeah, the current policy is you just fucking die, and that's not realistic. So no one's gonna do that, and so it's gonna end up being everyone's illegal, and then the SEC will go after who they want to go after.
Yeah, I mean, and the problem with that obviously is that the FBI is going to find people as opposed to putting people in jail. It just kind of sounds like there's a lot of ransomware revenue going around and somebody wants a cut. You know what I mean? But it's really time for the government to either step in or step out. If they step out, then let's allow people with the cyber skills necessary, to be privateers as well. And if they're going to step in, then let's offer the protections and some of the services that they have to a broad spectrum of businesses. But we're talking about everybody, you have the enterprise businesses that you know in mind, but that should be down to kind of individual counselors that are operating in each state. They handle a lot of PII, they handle a lot of payment information, and they're legitimate small businesses.